Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Triple N Media. I am Dr. Nick Nickham from Houston, Texas. The focus of today's topic is psychological challenges and 4 phases of retirement. So let us begin with the feature presentation. As we approach our retirement age, be it 50, 55, or 60, the most common things that we think about are having a wonderful time during retirement, planning about vacations, planning to meet your kids and grandchildren, and taking charge of your finances. But there's much more to that than these things. These things are important, but there are other elements which we need to focus upon, which will be the topic of this presentation. So let us continue. Did you know more than 10,000 people retire each year? Thanks to the baby boomers generation who were born between 1965 and who were born between 1955 and 64, and the number of people retiring continues to go up. So, first of all, you are not alone. You have company. The life expectancy of a United States resident in 1950 was 68 years. In 2000 it was 76, and in 2017 it is 82 years. So if you retire at age 60, you still have 20 plus years of very useful life. So that is something we need to keep in mind, because it is exceedingly important for us to plan not just for 1 month, 1 year, or 2 years, but plan for the span of our remaining retirement years, which could be 15 to 20 years. Let's look back at our life and see the phases we have gone through and what phase we are in. In the first 15 to 20 years, we were under the guidance of our parents, wonderful people who educated us, who trained us in all extracurricular activities, got us scholarships, and we entered the Ivy League colleges to become a doctor, a lawyer, engineer, a pilot, or a business person. Then we enter the second phase, which is the professional, what I call the ride. Yes, it is a race indeed, and we have all been through this rat race. And that's what they call it. That's how it felt like when I was just racing through life for almost 40 years, from 1980 to 2020. I'm still working part-time, so I'm not totally retired. But this is what I call the rat race, which we have been accustomed to. Getting up early in the morning, fighting the traffic, going to work, facing all the challenges, coming back home at late in the night, not even seeing your kids or teenagers growing up. You know what you've gone through. But we really enjoyed it, because, like we were the pilot of our own jet. We were traveling at a speed of 600 miles per hour for 365 days a year, 30 years. Now, all of a sudden, when this jet plane comes to a halt, we're going to have physical, emotional, psychological effects on our well-being. As I said, when our mind and body was traveling at such a fast pace, and all of a sudden it comes to a deceleration, to what looks like a slow walk in the park, just by yourself or with your spouse, with nothing to look forward to. Is it? Yes, there is something to look forward to, which is what we are going to be talking about in this presentation. So you enter a phase of what is called feeling loss. You had so much control when you are working. There are 500 people, 1,000 people working under you. You had respect. You visited places. You got certificates. But now all that has come to a halt. You have a sense of lost. You feel like you're lost. What do we do? How do we navigate the next 15, 20 years of our life when we have to start all over again as we did when we started our profession, when we were educating, when we were getting educated, our parents really took the initiative. So we just followed their instructions until we passed high school, and then we took on our own. But in our profession, we had to start everything from scratch. Same thing here, we have to start from scratch. And I'll tell you how we can do that. Riley Moynihan wrote a book on phases of retirement. He divided them into 4 phases. Phase of vacation, 1 to 3 years, what I call phase of celebration, jubilation. The second phase was feeling loss and lost, which I just talked about. The third phase is, he called it as trial and error. I call it as executive planning. You were in board meetings. You know how to move things. You know how to build a $1 billion or a $1 trillion company. But now you've got to use those skills to build your plan for the next 20 years, which is going to be totally different from what you were doing as a student, what you're doing as a professional, and it is something totally new. The fourth phase is, of course, act on the plan. Human body is designed to be doing something, not just sit and do nothing. All right, let's talk about the feeling of loss or feeling of lost. When we were working, we had a structure. We had 5 days of work or 6 days of work, or if you're a doctor like me, you had 7 days of work, and you were busy all day long, so time went by. Whether you liked it or not, whether you're stressed out or not, the time went by. Now, that's not the case. Now you lost your identity. Nobody cares I'm a doctor now because I'm retired. We had a lot of relationships in our profession. We had a sense of purpose, achieving certain goals, reaching certain targets, getting certificates, things like that. And of course, that sense of power, which gave you that high, that energy. But now you feel like you're lost. You're like a ship without a compass, no direction, no flight plans. You don't even have a jet plane anymore, which was your job. Did you know 40% of the people could experience signs of depression? So I'm going to list some of the signs of depression. So I would say take a notepad and write down if you're feeling any one of these. Mood swings or low mood, changes in appetite. You go to your favorite restaurant, you feel the food no longer tastes the same. The quality has gone down. The quantity has gone down. The prices have skyrocketed. Then sleep disturbances. Sleep disturbances is a vicious cycle. When you can't sleep, you get anxious. When you get anxious, you can't sleep. And that becomes a vicious cycle which can have physiological effects such as increasing your heart rate, increasing your blood pressure, and increasing anxiety, even causing dizziness, things like that. Agitation. You had a lot of patience when you're working. But when you enter a stage of retirement, maybe you become agitated very quickly with simple things, small things. You feel tired, you feel fatigued, you have difficulty in concentrating, which is a very important thing. But this difficulty in concentrating is not because of anything, but it is because of loss of cognitive power. 20% of the cognitive power is lost between ages 40 and 70. So this is a physiological change which we don't appreciate until somebody points out. Even then, we try to defy that. And here's some other things: lack of interest, energy, sex drive, confidence, motivation, feeling tired, worthless, restless. All these things are compound to create more anxiety, apprehension, and lack of sleep, among other things. They can also lead to trouble in the paradise. You know, nobody was ever trained to be with a spouse 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And you think about it. Even if you were a heart surgeon or a cardiologist or a pilot, you had some break. You had some time off. Before there was Father's Day off, there was Mother's Day off. But now you have to answer to each other 24 hours a day, and that can create good relationship, but it can also create friction. It can also create some anxiety, because if you have a dominant spouse, be it a male or a female, and they're constantly barraging on you as to do this, do that, you didn't do this right, you didn't do that right, you get the picture, you know. It is like not a retirement heaven, it is like hell. So it can result in relationship breakups or relationship strains, communication gaps, and you name it. Okay, now we're going to move on to phase 3, which is trial and error. That is, this is a new beginning. It's like a newborn baby, but except that you are now 55 or 60 years old, there are no parents to hold you in the hand and feed you. Now you got to do everything on your own. That's the important thing. Because when you're attending the professional stuff, you had teachers, professors, everybody trained you. But when you retire, you're off the cliff and you're just swimming by yourself. You don't have a direction, you don't know the skills, and you don't know what you're supposed to do. So what I would say is get a notepad and start writing things down. Because this, as I said, is a new beginning. We got to first design our life plan for the next 15 to 20 years. We have to see how we can be active at this age in our life, how we can contribute, how we can find a purpose and joy in our life. It all depends upon each individual as to how you plan this one. That's why we're not going to give you any tips on how you should plan. We're just giving you some framework upon which you can build your plan. And when you start building this plan, you realize it is much more than just putting a few lines on a yellow notepad. First of all, you need to find out what are the things that you like most. What are the things that you're very good at? You could be a good teacher. You could be a good instructor. You could be a good speaker. So you need to use your existing skills and knowledge and wisdom and see how you can transform that into sort of a retirement hobby that will help you to enjoy your life, navigate through these years, and be useful and purposeful. Tasks that you can complete. It is very common for us to start a new project, and after a while you say, man, this is too hard, I can't do this one. So we just drop that one. 6 months later, we start another project. It's like, I'm going to be a stock market expert and I'm going to look at all these charts and all these things. Then you're sitting there day and night staring at the computer for 10, 12 hours. Then you realize you're losing money. So this was not a good project. So I got to drop that one. So you need to think about projects that you're good at. My expertise is internet. I have a YouTube channel where I have 28,500 subscribers. I have more than 1,600 videos. My passion is public speaking. My passion is education. My passion is about everything in life, not just one particular topic. As you can see, we have 1,600 topics on our YouTube channel. Then we need to think about where we can use our expertise. Like if you want to be a teacher or trainer or a leadership seminars, politics, sports, commentaries. Once you decide how you want to do, then you have to put down a plan. And this is not going to happen overnight, because anything that you plan is going to take weeks months, or even a couple of years to establish. Even if you want to find a part-time job in a university to teach your expertise like political science or engineering, things like that is going to take time, and you have to have patience. And the transition, as I said, is going to be not simple, but it is a process, just as it was when we were going to school, just as it was when we were in the rat race, which I showed you. So this is a very quick overview of the psychological challenges we face in our lives, the various phases of retirement, and how to be most productive and joyful during our retirement years for 15 or 20 years, whatever the time span may be. Thank you so much for watching this presentation, and please do subscribe to our YouTube channel, and I will see you in the next video.